Hi, folks. Welcome to Follow the Leader, a podcast focused on telling character-driven stories through the use of GM-less tabletop games where we can all take the lead. You can find us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at FTLcast and at FTLcast.com. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/FTLcast. Today, we're playing A Modern Prometheus by Mitchell Salmon, a hack of Mobile Frame Zero, Firebrands by Lumply Game. For those of you who are new to this game, here are the basics. A Modern Prometheus tells the story of a scientist and their creation, born of eldritch sciences and dark secrets. Together, you will tell the story of the scientist and their creation as the two of them grapple with despair, hope, and their own humanity. I'm Cory. Find me here with you, in your ears, and with friends. My pronouns are he, him. Playing with me today, I have...
It's me, Jade, sometimes known as Coda. You can find me on the internet at jade.sodrose, and my pronouns continue to be they, them.
Our lines, which are things we absolutely do not want to see, are homophobia and transphobia, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, violence against children and animals, sexual assault, domestic violence or intimate partner violence, unwanted pregnancy, plagues, and pandemics. Our veils, which are things we're fine with addressing but we'll just fade to black on, include steamy situations, graphic descriptions of bodily harm, and terminal illness. Additional content warning. This game explicitly deals with themes of gothic horror, dark science, and monstrosity, and our story deals with topics of body horror, rot, decay, grief, depression, and suicide.
If any of those topics are you're not in a good place to be listened to right now, no judgment, please go about your day, have a good time, and we hope you're able to join us for the next story.
Now that we've got all that, let's get started. This is a fun one because, very, very Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. That's the big, obvious inspiration for this one. And with that, I'm going to read off some of the principles that are here since it's been interesting to marinate on. There are, I believe, 6 in total, if I read my Roman numerals correctly.
Yep.
First, we have to embrace the Victorian melodrama. It recommends swooning, raging, throwing a glass of brandy into the fire, and taking to your bed for days at a time. And boy, if that last one is not a mood. 2, make your humanity monstrous and the monstrous human, finding the ugly side of the beautiful and the beautiful side of ugliness. 3, make your feelings clear and leave your actions up to interpretation. Center your emotional world and leave no doubt as to your thoughts and feelings. 4, go beyond the prompt. Describe the story as much or as little as you like and never feel limited by the brevity of the prompt. 5, explore, challenge, and refute. We don't have to agree with our partner's perceptions of characters, and I should show them why they're wrong. And 6, and this is just a good rule in general, play to find out what happens. We're deep in that space.
For people that maybe aren't familiar with Mobile Suit Zero Firebrands and its various hacks, it's a collection of minigames which allows you to explore relationships and entanglements. This one specifically, to begin the game, one of us is the scientist, one of us is the creation. We've already done lines and veils. Well, you heard them at the top of the episode, and we discussed a little bit of any extra stuff which should be addressed in the content warning. If not, we messed up. Maybe read the show notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have, there are 10 minigames, 5 for the scientist, with the other player taking on different characters, and 5 with the creation, sort of at the forefront. And then I think there is a final scene. But we get to start with the scene creating monsters. So, and once that's done, we'll go back and forth choosing minigames. And then when we're happy with the story that we've told, we will go to the final confrontation to end the game.
Yep.
Minigames, sometimes they'll have questions. Sometimes there is coins and tokens. We're keeping track of those. Most of the minigames start with questions that will be sort of answered collaboratively, even if we're not playing as our, quote, main character. So, apparently if there is any dispute, the player taking on the non-player character's role will make the final decision.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that's very appropriate given the circumstances.
Well, so much of this game and what I like is it's about your perspective of the other character as your character. It's like, what do you see? Because it is all meant to be very subjective. So,
yeah, in the end of the end, strongly driven by emotion and strongly driven by that very personal lens. So I totally get it.
Some of these mini games have quotes from various literature. A lot of them have quotes from, unsurprisingly, from Frankenstein. But from creating monsters, our first mini game. On a moonlit night in the heart of a noble city, an unholy act took place, and a creature unlike any the world has ever seen was born of dark science and the untempered pursuit of knowledge that would be better forgotten. A new species would bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me. No father could claim the gratitude of his child so completely as I should deserve theirs. Victor, you didn't even finish medical school. Just saying.
Hey, sometimes you got to know the rules to break them, and sometimes you break the rules before you know them, right?
I skimmed it. I've got enough of an understanding. But right, this game we both play. Your opposite will answer each other's questions truthfully, record the answers. We have a document on the go to do that, but obviously you're listening, so you will hear them. And ask the questions in the sequence they're written in. That each player asks one question from the bonus list. So,
yeah, and then after we've both asked a question from the bonus list, we end, for this one at least. I love a little bonus soda.
Yeah. Do you, looking at these questions, do you want to name your scientist?
Yeah, we've conspired a little bit here, as we are often wont to do.
I know, but just for the sake, because obviously the creation doesn't necessarily have a name yet, but I like that the book, like the game, doesn't actually say you have to at the beginning, but for the sake of...
Yeah, this is just a fun extra treat for us. Calling back to times before, I have with me Puros, the Light of Humanity. Yes, he would name himself that. Just, I smile. There's some, like I mentioned, there's some preconceived things somewhat. That name is one of them, but when I saw that this was named A Modern Prometheus, I just had to smile. Fire is an important part of the theme here, and therefore...
Though this is not, I must stress, this is not Cory's Saga's character, a Precus, by another
No,
name.
it's not a Precus. I can guarantee that. This is a different fireman who is a lot more into it.
All right. So, it begins.
Yeah, it's time for questions, is it not?
Yeah.
And hopefully these don't answer the policy. Okay. So, first off, we ask with one of mine. As the scientist, I would ask, you come alive in my workshop, born of my invention, my intent. Your eyes fix on me. What do you see?
Someone I do not know, but yet somehow recognize. Someone who looks exhausted and deliriously happy, maybe hysterical, maybe. I don't know what I'm seeing, but there is something wide-eyed and pulsing with energy that isn't sure where it's going. I suppose I should also maybe describe what you look like. I got caught up in the details of it all.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm sitting here and my ass is got, so I'm into it.
Mm-hmm. A guy with a mask presenting person, a light brown skin, hair in need of a cut, in need of a wash, a face in need of a shave, bright eyes, average height and build. Probably could do with a sandwich.
That's so generous.
The eye bags could carry a lot. What do you want with? I mean, I'm trying to be generous. Oh, I must stress, I don't think the creation makes this, but I, Jade, as the player, this is a wet, scrungly cat of a man. 100%. Just, yes. Some might say pathetic. Some. I am not saying that now. Maybe later.
We will see.
But yeah, like many a take on Frankenstein and parallel characters throughout, this has got that sort of underfed in the body, overfed of the mind, frantic quality. This looks like somebody that has the look of somebody that might be like, hey, I'm going to play God. And not see how that could ever backfire. You know.
Yeah.
As one does.
I'm just nodding my head.
Okay. Now I ask. I rise and stagger to the floor of your laboratory. The hiss and thump of your devices surround us. You inspect me. What do you see?
What do I see? I see in front of me a shell that I wished was hollow. Someone, a forge with the flame restoked from coals that were long dead and gone. Almost porcelain countenance that I've been trying to forget, but ultimately failed to, and let a dark night's thought and consideration seize me over. This is the face of someone I recognize that I've had many photos in the album of, and that I finally brought to fore. Something that was almost sculpted as if out of wax, and with all of the qualities of life and living that one would expect from a moving form, but with a plasticity that should not be. Dark pits of eyes that hold within them a depths that I recognize and inherently turn from, and a sort of perception and curiosity that I once admired and now, well, I feel trailing off there is actually rather appropriate. Someone who is my equal in height, who is in build about as much as me. We match together in that sense. And yet, having only myself to go for a body, I tried to make some differences, and I believe those differences are reflected in an old companion that I would rather forget. Movement to me is It's almost as if I expect to hear sounds that aren't there. It is smoother than I would think. There is a clear presence, but a clear lack of the sounds of friction I would expect from skin. It sounds more as if, like I said, it's something plasticine, not in the sense of the squeaking and rubbing of the plastic, but more of a soft sort of sloughing of something that
Mm.
should not be skin
Mm.
moving across the ground. And also at the same time, a bit of a crackling and hardening as the heat from around wears off.
Are there any signs of on the body of what you did? Like, to look back to Frankenstein,
Mhm.
where you think of the stitches and things like that. Are there any signs of, I suppose, medical treatment, or this body doesn't look quite right,
Mm-hmm.
but are there any signs that somebody would be able to go to is like, he maybe did make that? Like,
Two in particular, I would say. Well, actually, I'd say three.
mm-hmm.
One is that the form of the creation, in the sense, that what that creation rises from is a human-like mold, as if it were cast. With that, there are fragments and pieces obviously broken off, a few in particular around the limbs. And most particularly, and this is not obviously seen, but on the back of the skull, sort of towards the top of the cranium, there is a maker's mark.
Very good. Dig it.
And with this man being who he is, that maker's mark is not a monogram, it is the image of flame.
Cool. It's your question, scientist.
Yep. You look around in my laboratory, observing papers tacked to the walls, bookshelves overflowing with books and notes, all the signs of a singular obsession that I have created you to fulfill. What is it that I want?
When I say mastership, I mean in the sense of like a craftsman. The full and complete grasp of something. It's like seeking that perfection, that, as I said, that mastery of something. This is somebody that has been striving, and there is signs of like experiments and failures and how to make this better. And I think it isn't clear as to what it is necessarily, but this isn't a selfish kind of mastership. It isn't like I wish to have control of this thing so no one else can. Very Promethean in that it's like, I want to have this and then I will give it because I did it. And I think being able to say, I am the one that did this, here you go, is enough. It doesn't have to be yours alone to be worth it. If anything, being able to give it to others is part of why you do it. Has to be good enough for other people. And also other people have to be able to appreciate what it is you do, what it is you've done.
Lovely. I have to ask, sort of along the ways, do you think there's any other, like, you've mentioned successes and failures. What do you think that takes the form? And is it just papers or are there other things?
I like the thought there's like maquettes and like small, almost like homunculi. Like the thing that struck me the most about the description was almost like working with clay. And I love the notion there's all these little models, and maybe there's even smaller creatures in cages. Or maybe, I suppose, not quite like the Wicked Witch of the West and her winged monkeys, but I like the notion that maybe there is some kind of like in a fully science fiction setting, it might be like a if the creation was like a really lifelike human android, like a smaller, clearly a robot. But I feel like homunculus maybe is the word I'm looking for, but moves with less grace. Like you can see the artificiality of it. I think there's maybe one of those, but there's a lot of like maquettes. You can see the fingerprints where he's worked the clay. I love that you can see that all over this. There is this, even if there wasn't a maker's mark on the creation, I feel like people would be able to look at them and see, oh, this is his work. Because there's something indelible about what he does that carries through into his work. If that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. Very ably, I would say.
I was like, I gotta lean in. I do think like there are blackboards like covered in, but also the visual of him having bought like blackboard paint to carry on the notes and then running out of that and then just writing on the walls sketches and diagrams and theorems literally carved into the walls, because everyone deserves to be a little bit unhinged as a treat.
And, when you're doing something as defining as this...
Yeah, like who's running out for paper? No.
When flesh becomes your canvas, so does the world, I would say. Well, flesh, in quotes.
I'm looking at a camera that isn't there. This fucking motherfucker. This extra ass motherfucker. I love him so much. What a prick. Anywho, do you feel the question is answered sufficiently, Cory?
I would say so, and then overmuch. Not overmuch, but doubly
and
so.
Then
I
some?
have received a gracious filling.
Okie dokie. All right,
Thank
then. You. My turn to ask. You raise your hand to your mouth, shocked at what you have wrought. I am imbued with abilities far beyond those of a natural human. What unnatural strengths do I possess?
Oh, boy. So you've mentioned the overflowing, I say life in quotes, that sort of is around the laboratory. I think that same sense of vitality is part of what is so disturbing. It's overflowing as if the vessel that's been created is not enough to host the flame that lies within it. There is a radiating of warmth, of life, of energy that should not be there, of a vigor that cannot be fully channeled by what it is hosted within. And I think that comes out in a particular way. The cobbles of the laboratory floor, it's as if weeds rise through them. From thin air almost, it seems as if there is a faint humming of insects that could not have been there, arising from crannies and nooks that had not been explored, of larvae and eggs that had been there long since, had been long rendered into dust and had been brought back where they had been laid fallow previously. More than anything, this is an overcalculation that has happened, an overcompensation made out of fear to bring something back, and now that is a catalyst to bring others around with it.
Love it. Yeah. It occurs to me as we've described this space between us, before we go to these other questions, so often with these sorts of stories, you picture like attic rooms open to the elements to do the old, electrical thing. But you imagine like towers, elevated spaces. There's something about this between like the furnace imagery and like cobble floors and stuff growing up. The notion that we're in something like a basement, something almost tomb-like in the bowels of a place, bringing something up is delicious.
Oh, yes. And that is definitely what I was thinking of too. Like, almost a clay oven, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And in this room and in its walls, in fact, that vitality radiates off of everything, magnified in a fashion that it should not be.
Now I'm just imagining that like this is like there is access to a clay pit and it's literally you've pulled it out of the ground to do things with. Very Crimson Peak. Less blood looking, but
I'm nodding my head.
Our audio medium. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to describe my actions.
Of course. And it is appreciated.
The fun question and the simple one. 5 words. Why do you hate me?
I instinctively know you, but I don't know who you are, and I don't know why I am here. And all I know is that it feels wrong and that it is your fault. And it's as simple as that.
Sometimes simple is best.
Well, now I ask, why do you fear me?
You remind me of someone that I should have lost, and I'm quickly realizing the cost of denying that truth. Sorry, I'm also writing this down as we go.
Yeah, I forgot to write anything down, so I got too into the vibes.
No, that's fair. I totally get it.
So, as Cory scribes like a man possessed, there are 4 bonus questions here that we can choose from. These are very, for those who have played fire, these are very firebrands, and I say that as a positive. So.
Now that I've finished. Okay, we've got questions, haven't we?
We've got questions.
What questions do I want?
Yeah, you only get one this time.
I do only get one, and that's the problem. This is the thing, right? And this is what I love about this, and this is what torments me, which is good. I should be tormented. They're all very good questions. And I say that as if they have the answer to life, the universe, and the everything, but it's precisely because they are restrained enough to leave a lot of room. Yes. I think this is the one that I'll go for. I reach out to touch you. May I?
I think this sort of silence may also be in character. Yes, but I look torn about it. Like, there's that moment of, do I let this happen? Do I want this to happen? Do I want this moment? Remember, I think there's a visible sort of conflict on the face. But, yes. What's the touch like?
It is, at first, a confirmation, and then at the same time, a lack of belief. And not in trying to deny what sits in front of me, but more when you see something and you first lay eyes on it and you know what it is instinctively, but logically you think that it can't be true. And then you realize as you are in physical contact with that thing that it is actually what you are looking at. It is a sight unseen, a sight that you wish you had seen, and a sight that you are seeing in that moment.
And where do you touch them? Just because I have a detail I'm gonna gift to you before I figure out which one of these I want to ask.
That's fair. Yeah, you know what? I have to exaggerate. It's the side of the face. It is where I think I spent the most time in creating the negative image of.
Very good. I think when you... I don't think I pull away, but I think there's this moment... You know, when you cook certain things, the top is done, but the inside is a little bit soft still. I think where you touch, I think your thumb almost like there's a slight pressure and there's just a little bit of give way. Like if you press down like the top of like a creme brulee or something, just a slight give. And you can feel the heat from within. I think when your hand comes away, you will see there is 1 second, you can just see the imprint of your thumb just in front of the ear on that side. You ask me a question. What is it?
With a hesitation, not knowing what answer would come, I think it's just, what is your name? Again, I think this is also silence that is very much in the moment.
There's this visible, like, thinking, not quite REM sleep kind of eyes moving around, but that look that somebody gets when they're like going through their memory, like trying to find something.
I think this is then that sort of pause. It evokes half comfort, half disappointment, almost.
I think, and after this sort of silence, this weighted silence, this creation speaks for the first time. Like vocalizes, I suppose, for the first time, and something resembling actual words. And I think what probably catches the scientist off guard is how much anger comes out with it as they reply, "You brought me here. Isn't it your job to name me?" Maybe not job. You're right, I think is actually what they would say. And that's when they pull back. Like step back away from you.
I think if I were to give you a name, it would be a name that you could not meet the standard of. And that is not that my work is imperfect. It is that it is something that would have to be earned. And I do not want to set that goal. He pauses for a bit because he's deciding between the words yet and ever.
Uh-huh.
And I think that is exactly just where he trails off. But until I have decided, I cannot just refer to you as you or as being. And so as I have determined that you will be, the task I give to you is determine who you shall be.
I think in the book of this, that's the chapter end. I don't think we see the response. And so it begins.
At once, in a word, cruel. Oh boy. There are so many more games yet to go through, and I'm already tired.
So many. So the scientist mini games are front the board of ethics, the masquerade, receive a letter, make a desperate inquiry, and steal time with a confidant or a confidant. The creation mini games are seek humanity, hunt through the streets, evade pursuers, stalk the creator's confidant, and deliver a demand. You don't have to do them in any specific order. You just choose whichever ones you want to play. You can play them all. You don't have to.
Yep.
But
Just keep rolling until we reach an end. And then when that end happens...
Oh boy.
That's when we have our final confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
However that may be.
However that may be.
I think I have already, in fact, defined that first game by speaking. And let me know if you agree. I think I have just asked you to seek humanity.
All right.
As you must decide who you will be, it is only natural to figure out what that means. And as the game states in its opening, it says, "For seek humanity. I am alone in the world, the only one of my kind, discarded by my creator. But there is good in the world, and if I can find it, perhaps I too may know a modicum of peace amidst my cursed existence." The quote it provides from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is of the creature, of course. "I do know that for the sympathy of one living being, I would make peace with all. I have love in me, the likes of which you can scarcely imagine, and rage, the likes of which you would not believe. If I cannot satisfy one, I will indulge the other."
I fucking love that quote.
That's such a good one. in a book of bangers, I would say.
In a book of bangers.
Yet another comes out. Yeah.
10
out of 10.
So, this is fun. Because this is a creation game that Cory has chosen for me. So I'm going to choose at least the first scientist game. But that's next. We are here now. The scientist takes on the role of an innocent. Who are they? Where does this interaction take place? So we'll collaboratively answer those. And then the innocent has a stack of tokens and asks 4 questions from the list. And then they secretly place a token in either human or monster. After the questions are finished, the innocent reveals the stacks and the creation chooses either human or monster and rolls a 4-sided dice. If the result is below or equal to the number in the chosen stack, the creation takes a coin. So
fun.
So who's this innocent?
Who is this innocent?
Where's this happening?
Oh boy. I guess we got to think a little bit about the society outside of just this horrific forge.
Is this forge in a bigger building? Is it part of a complex, or is it like away from other things? Because that might sort of help us figure out what this next thing is.
Let's lean into the industrial a bit. I think this forge itself kind of springs out from, I'll go with a classic, ye olde abandoned steel mill. If we're invoking the industrial.
Hell yeah.
Where the below is, it's almost made as if of fragments of what was above. And in fact, if you were to look around the building itself, you could see places where the equipment's obviously been levered up and removed and recreated downstairs, essentially.
All right.
Great blast furnaces, vats where there once was molten metal that's coursed through the veins, lights that would have been on above, but that have been long since cut off in terms of power, and a rat's nest of wires that snake down to below. The town that is near, I will say in quotes, comfortable enough to walk, but not so comfortable that you would do it in a day, I think is one where those bones of industry are still around. Buildings of brick and of the beginnings of the usage of steel reinforce the place. Roads are laid down, which are still with cobble, but there are lamps that are about, which flicker with lights and with gas. I think it is at once a place that has experienced the early throes of modernizing, but that is still very much in the midst of its growth and the pains thereof. And although there are signs of that life, there are also similarly signs of that life moving out, as the heart of this place has shifted and at once been transmuted and removed. So, for who this innocent is, I think it's the first of a generation that is not experiencing the old ways, to speak. They're not someone who grew up with the expectation that they would serve at the steel mill or at a business that was sort of subject to its existence as a condition of it being there. Someone that's been left to sort of pick up the pieces and form something new from what was old. Now that I've said all of these grand things, I think it's someone that puts up like lodging. It's not a large building. It's like an old row house that's been converted into a boarding room of sorts. Someone that's new, that came from enough means to be able to pick this up, but at the same time, they are working with the building to reform it into something hospitable. The entryway is at once warm, and the furniture is cozy, but further beyond that, there are signs of what was there before. Prints in the floors where furniture once was. Dust that has yet to be swept up, that is mixed with coal and with other signs of life that were once there. And they'd be seated at a desk, I think, just sort of reading over a ledger and figuring out who they should expect to see next, and if they need more to host to continue to propel their own mission. I think for clothes, I don't know, what do you think? What would an outfit be for them here?
Man. So I was sort of my brain was sort of skimming over the idea of this person with this little small holding of sort, this boarding house they're trying to put together. I liked the idea of there being like a small, not a farm per se, but like a goat and a small vegetable patch. And because of who I am and because of where this character started, a small like beehive. So there's means of like honey and beeswax, and it's not a fully self-sufficient space, but there is things there. You can see this is somebody that's maybe come from further away and maybe brought the goat and the bees. And so I think this is like somebody in just like in working clothes, but very different in a way to like the scientist, to Pyrrhus, in that this is practical clothing that has like earth, like slightly stained from working, either cleaning up the house or the building or working in the garden. In their own way, I think they are very alive feeling. There are signs of life about them. So, and I like the idea that compared to the dark, or the all I can imagine is like the red tones of the furnace space where the creation awoke, began life.
Yep.
That this is maybe not full on like a sunny day, but like a very different kind of warm light, like very soft, and it doesn't create like these harsh like deep black shadows. Instead, it's more like it is inviting and it is soft. And this person, I think, is like maybe humming a song to themselves as they're doing this. And it might be that sound that is what draws the creation there. But rather than enter the building, because I think they've maybe like come up across the land, they're like below the window on the outside. And maybe what clues the innocent into this arrival is the goat maybe kicks up a noise. And just there is the shushing noises. And the innocent becomes very aware there is a person there.
Okay, yeah. I think it's that soft shadow. It comes from that fireplace. There's a playfulness in the flame that dances. Although, upon hearing the noise and the disturbance, I think they pop up, and the window would have been shaded over just because, it's having the light of the sun on you is nice until you're sweating in the beam.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they'll sort of pull the shades up for a bit to look outside, and then once noticing a presence, they'll also pull the frame of the window open. I think those working clothes that you've described, it's probably like blouse, suspenders, trousers, boots, elbows worn threadbare and patched over, buttons sewn on, and with a few more spare on the inside of the collar. Just a hat to help keep the hair back, but it's the sense that there's a sort of forest growing under that would just flush out if it were not contained.
Yeah.
And a pair of bright green eyes peering from the window out at you.
I think the creature or the creation is actually sort of crouched or like leaning against the fence or even the wall of the building itself, and is wearing some kind of like cloak or something, so it's the innocent can only see like this hooded figure. I don't think the creation has seen necessarily what they look like, but they know how the scientists looked at them, so they assume it's not good. And being aware that they're being observed, they sort of hunch down a little, but don't run. Where like you've got to go out and figure out your own name because you don't deserve the one I might give you otherwise. Ringing in their ears. Bitch, these are your choices.
No, it's great. I love it. I have questions to ask, I think, don't I? 4 of them.
Yes.
Let's run down the scores so everyone can know what was not asked of the ones that I choose. So, of the questions available to me here as the innocent, I have these. What life do you desire? What is beautiful and what is ugly? What does it mean to be strong? What does it mean to be weak? Who is your creator? What is your purpose? What is the purpose of humankind? And what do you see when you look at me? I think, that first question, very much in the innocent tone of the innocent, is just that. Someone's outside the window and they're just kind of hanging about. They didn't come in the front door. They're out with the goat. I'm not like assuming badly, but with someone put up in such a great coat with such an imposing figure just because it's so contrasted to the outside, I can't help but be curious. So, what is your purpose?
I think at this point, the creation, has made enough friends with the goat that the goat is like nibbling at like coat sleeves and saying like, okay, where's the food at though? You come to see me? Bring me food. And they are touching, like running their hands over the goat's head, scratching behind the ears. And maybe it was an older goat, but It's definitely looking less old after a couple of minutes of petting. Just saying. Not full on like shrinking in size, but the way that like older animals, you can tend to see it in like their fur or the brightness of their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And at that question, aware that they're being observed and this person hasn't like screamed at them to go away, because this might not have been the first place that they stopped. But this person hasn't yelled. This person has let them get to know the goat. And this question asked so differently to the scientist asking them what their name was that they sort of sit back on their haunches. And although the innocent can't see their face, there is something thoughtful about the posture. I don't know yet. I am. And they look at their hands and think about how different their skin feels compared to like the nose on the goat and the fur.
Yeah, I think the innocent sort of like misinterprets that at first because, maybe it's just.
Yeah.
And they're like, they consider a bit like leaning forward on the windowsill. That you can sort of see their face poking out now. Like kind of a button nose situation. Freckles that speak to someone sun-kissed.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where like, I mean, how do you not know? Is it just, you're from out of town? Like just looking for work?
Their mouth opens and closes a couple of times. And then although the hood kind of obscures their features, they look to the innocent. And in a turn of phrase that I don't think they know why they know it. How does this phrase come out?
What's in a phrase?
He doesn't know, so I don't know. He thinks he knew what he wanted. He thinks he knew why he brought me here. But he doesn't. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know why I'm here. I don't know why I am here.
Yeah, okay. That certainly gives some pause. I think they're quickly realizing. Yeah. It turns out, when you open up the full can of worms and someone in the street, they're like, "Huh?" Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, like, at first it's just sort of the idle, like, "Oh, howdy neighbor, what are you doing here?" And then they realize the innocent here quickly is like, "Oh."
Oh, this person's a little fucked up, actually.
Yeah. There's something here. Yeah. I think they hear a reference to a he, and they go like, this is the one where I ask, who is your creator? Because they're just trying to figure out who this he is.
What was the title you said that was the back half of the mononym for Pyros?
The Light of Humanity.
Yeah, okay. I think their hand goes to the maker's mark on the back of the head. I think they actually push the hood back. I think there is like the beginnings of growth from like a full buzz cut kind of thing, like, or a wet shave. It's like, imagine like a few days worth that sort of almost peachy fuzz coming in, which is enough to disguise what's there, but not the feel of it. And then their hands trace over, or one of their fingers traces over the mark. And for a moment, they don't say anything. They just know instinctively that that's what it is that they're touching. Like, this is the mark. And then their hand slides round to that little thumbprint just in front of their ear. the light of humanity trying to reignite itself, but it doesn't know it's gone out.
I think they'll like pause at that.
I mean, also, shout out, this could be a God is dead kind of situation.
Yeah,
it just
like,
occurred to me.
Kind of like,
it's like, huh? Sounds like a crisis of faith, actually. But please continue.
Yeah, like I think that's how they're taking it. They like consider for a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, this is what kind of needs." They like reach under the desk that they're at, and just kind of like get like a glass that's a little dusty, sort of blow it out a bit to get the worst of it out, and tap it against the windowsill a couple of times before they produce a like half-had bottle of brandy and just kind of the cheap stuff. Obviously they can't afford the good stuff, but they pour like a little bit in there. just kind of hold it out. Like, do you need something? Will this help you?
It does occur to me, out of character, that between like the sort of shapeless cloak coat with the hood and the head, the sort of the shaved head, that there is something very monastic in appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they know that. And I think the smell of the brandy reaches them, and it's enough. I don't think they recognize what it is. Why would they? But they go over and they take the offered glass and they smell it, and their nose wrinkles. Because I think it's close enough in terms of like some of the kind of spirits, like the mineral spirits that are in the forge, to make it smells familiar enough yet different enough for it to be a suspicious smell. But they look to the innocent for sort of confirmation. And I think this is when the innocent gets a look at those dark eyes. Irises, like, there's no anything that we would recognize as like a sclera. Just dark eyes.
Oh, wonderful. I'm going to have fun with that one.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like they recognize what they're looking at, but it takes a couple of seconds and you sort of see the eyes widen a bit before just slowly returning back to a normal gaze. It's like a little bit of bugging out before they're like, oh. I think it's something that benefits them being an out-of-towner because there's an element of credulity to this where they recognize they don't know everything that happens around here. So maybe it's just a local condition. They're not sure.
Also, the advantage of them being an out-of-towner means that they do not recognize this face the way somebody else might.
Oh, yeah. There's no way they could. And they just sort of like leave the glass there. Take it, like you can take it if you want. I'm not gonna like just slap it away or nothing, but sort of slowly putting the bottle back under the desk.
I love that we've only done 2 questions. This is very good.
Yeah.
There's 2 of us. August will be very happy if we get 2 to 3 episodes. It's fine.
Hey, directive said be extra. Baby, I'm being extra.
We're leaning in.
We're leaning
loving
in.
Life.
Are we loving life? Well,
we as players might be.
Yeah, I was saying.
Like our forebear storytellers before us, we're increasing that word count.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Speaking of life, I mean, this is someone who seems lost. I mean, in several senses. That's like obviously just kind of in general. But also like lost in the sense of purpose that most people should have,
Mm-hmm.
I am as this worker in this town that's trying to bring something back to it,
Mm-hmm.
and also, give myself a meaning of life as a border for
Mm.
others.
Yeah.
I have a purpose, I have a reason,
Mm.
but I don't know, what life do you desire?
Yeah. And I think like the creation looks like an adult. This isn't a child
Yeah.
looking. This is somebody that clearly looks like they've been through something.
In a phrase that the innocent could not know is twisted, fully grown.
Mm-hmm. God. I just talked about how much fun we're having bloating this out. I say bloating, that makes it sound bad, but having fun like expanding. But God, I think the answer to this is short. I did not choose to live. I don't know if I want any life, but I have it. And there's something about their face, in the way like something like almost like if you're worrying a tooth that's loose, that sort of.
Yeah.
And I think if this is the innocent is is much of a people person as you've described them to be, I do think it would this person they're looking at is like, oh, this person has, they're fucked up in a
Yeah.
whole other way, huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I think it's because you see, I have to agonize over tokens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how's that going over there, Cory? You having a fun time?
Going great. I love it,
Uh-huh.
actually.
I love that it's secret and I do not know. Like,
Yeah.
having played like things Eldritch and Terrifying, where shout out to our good friend August, and their dope ass game we have played on the podcast, where there is things like where you are like, if somebody scares you or doesn't, or if they're monstrous. I love that. I have no idea how this
Yeah.
person feels. It's very cool.
Yeah, and I think it's just that. It's like it's one thing that is at once comprehensible, and yet at the
Mm.
same time this person who is actually, yeah, by all intents quite sociable, and they're just experiencing a bit of slow period. Like, this is giving them pause.
Mm.
And it's the look of someone who would normally sort of babble a bit about this, that, and the other, like the weather or the local
Mm-hmm.
news, to try and fill the space of silence. But
Mm-hmm.
it's also someone that is immediately baffled by that, because
Mm.
this is someone who does truly seem, in a word that they can describe, just lost.
Mm.
And just it's a sacrosanct sort of feeling where just giving a glib comment about a cloud overhead does not seem to be the right thing to do to try and fill that space. But what
Yeah.
is there to fill silence where there is there, and there is no grasp otherwise?
Yeah. I think at seeing that, realizing that they are the source of it, the creation pulls back, doesn't pick up the glass, and doesn't like move to leave per se, but is like creating more space between themselves and the innocent.
Yeah. And since it's been, I think they're trying very hard to tug the creation into the mundane almost with a lot of the questions.
Yeah.
This is someone who seems
Like grounding questions, like, oh, you're in a
yes.
bad way. Let me try and bring you back to yourself, because they couldn't possibly know.
They need a reality check.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
couldn't possibly know where exactly the creation is at. So they're using their own frame of reference. So it totally makes sense.
They're boxing with forces outside their reckoning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's that sort of last thing, like, and this is them, like they're probing for a contact that they know is going to be uncomfortable, but this person seems like they need it. They say, "What do you see when you look at me?" Like, "Hey, look at me. What's going on here?"
Mm. The question surprises them enough, but in a detail that is, I hope, as upsetting to you and our listeners as it is. They've already turned to answer the question like they've been commanded to do so. It seems like less of a choice that they've turned around to answer the question, and more about something about being asked a question has compelled them to do it. And there is a moment of discomfort on their face as their body is doing a thing that they don't quite understand. But it works in a sense that the innocence, like, I got to bring them back, I got to ground them in the moment, because the creation's eyes do start ticking over the innocent and taking in the details. And at first it's just like, you have green eyes, you're wearing a hat. Like, not clinical, but objective details or clear things that are easy to spot. And they step closer and are taking in more details. And I imagine it's not necessarily unpleasant, but it's definitely in the way that being the subject of somebody's entire scrutiny, it's just like a lot. And their eyes tick over like the crow's feet at the corner of this person's eyes and the lines around their mouth. And they say, "You look like you have had many reasons to smile. I hope that is true."
I think they're stunned a bit at the profundity of that too. Like, obviously this whole time it's been like somewhat profound, but in the sense of casting about almost.
Yeah.
I don't think they were expecting someone to be insightful about them in the immediate term.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I think with that, and to close this out before, because I would like to belabor the point a bit, before I go over rolling scores, I think they sort of like pause a bit, like look you over, and then they will, like, as opposed to just kind of like setting that glass on the windowsill and waiting for you to take it, they sort of pick it up and just sort of shove it out to you much more forcefully, like, you need this. Take this.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a room. So come inside and let's figure out where you can stay.
I love it. And they do as bid. But rather than the immediate kind of almost compelled motion of before, it feels like a deliberate choice on their part to, like, they adjust their grip on the glass so they're actually holding it, not that it's just been like proffered to them. And they don't drink it necessarily, but they hold it and they take the direction and head towards the doorway that was indicated, like, get your ass inside. And okay.
Yeah. We'll say that's 3 human tokens and 1 monster token.
All right.
To be continued.
Need a new campaign idea for your tabletop role-playing game?
Looking to improve your GMing skills or become a better player?
Curious about exploring the origins of your favorite races, classes, and creatures?
Then check out the Maniculum podcast, where we show you how to use medieval history to your advantage. We're your hosts, Mac and Zoe, a professional medievalist and a AAA game developer, and together we use modern game design techniques to uncover the origins of your favorite tropes and adventures from medieval manuscripts. In each episode, we explore a new medieval manuscript, its connections to modern TTRPGs, and teach you how to adapt these tales into compelling campaigns and amazing adventures.
Whether you're looking to recreate the noble Arthurian tales or incorporate weird and wacky medieval monsters into your campaign, the Maniculum podcast has you covered.
Listen to our fortnightly podcast for free on iTunes, Spotify, or your preferred podcasting app now.